It's time to take a look at every major PlayStation 4 game release coming in March. March is shaping up to be a pretty solid month with a wide variety of game releases across a multitude of different genres. So without further ado, let's take a look at all of the big PlayStation 4 games coming in March. Agony. Agony is the first major survival horror title being released in 2018, and it's being developed by Madmind Studio, and the game has been in the works for quite a while. The game has you begin your journey as a tormented soul within the depths of hell without any memories of your past. The special ability is to control people on their path and possess minded demons. Agony seems to be one of those horror games that really invokes that element of survival and horror, and that's always nice to see in survival horror games, which has been a genre that's been relatively hit or miss, but hopefully Agony sets a good trend for 2018 horror games, as it's set to be released on March 30th. Far Cry 5. One of Ubisoft's staple franchises is back once again with Far Cry 5. Far Cry has been one of those franchises that I think is adored by a lot of gamers, but with the release of Far Cry 4 and Far Cry Primal, those didn't really set the gaming world on fire. However, we do have very good memories of Far Cry 3. It's just that 4 and Primal, even with the setting change, was a lot more of the same. And Far Cry 5 on one hand does look very similar to 3 and 4, however, that's not necessarily a bad thing because while it is similar, those games at their core were very good, and Far Cry 5 is doing enough different where it does seem to be a fresh experience. Unlike previous titles in the series where you take the role of a set character, this game is going to feature a new character creator. It'll have the old aiming system, and of course you'll have a variety of range and explosive weapons to fight against enemies with. Far Cry 5 was originally set to be released this month in February, but it was pushed back until March 27th. Hopefully it turns out well.
The enemy. There we go. So we just took down the last cultist at Nick Rise.
Ni no Kuni 2 Revenant Kingdom. The first Ni no Kuni title, Ni no Kuni The Wrath of the White Witch, was arguably the best Japanese RPG of last generation, arguably the best RPG of last generation. I don't think that's hyperbole in saying that because that was a fantastic RPG by Level 5. Level 5 have worked on some fantastic RPGs also, including Rogue Galaxy, as well as the Dark Cloud titles, but Ni no Kuni was probably their best game yet, and now we have the follow-up Ni no Kuni 2 Revenant Kingdom, which presentation-wise is very similar to the first Ni no Kuni, which is a great thing because art direction and sound direction was one of the strong suits of the first Ni no Kuni title. As far as the story for Ni no Kuni 2 Revenant Kingdom, it does look like you'll be able to jump in no problem without any prior recollection of the first title, and with Ni no Kuni 2 it'll have you control a usurped king from his castle who sets out to reclaim his kingdom. The game will feature a full and vibrant open world, and hopefully with Ni no Kuni 2 Revenant Kingdom they just build upon the quality they set with the first title because this is one with a lot of potential. And JRPGs have been fantastic this generation, so hopefully Ni no Kuni 2 can keep up that trend. Ni no Kuni 2 Revenant Kingdom comes March 23rd.
You were just in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Here it is, Evan.
My dearest friend.
Final Fantasy 15 Royal Edition. Speaking of Japanese RPGs, arguably the most anticipated one this generation was Final Fantasy 15, and now we've got a definitive version with Final Fantasy 15 the Royal Edition. This is the ultimate version of Final Fantasy 15, and if you've yet to check out the game, this is the version that you'll want to buy. If you've yet to play Final Fantasy 15, the Royal Edition is without a doubt the version to buy. It's going to include the base game as well as the Season Pass. That includes Episode Prompto, Episode Ignis, as well as Episode Gladio, and then you'll also have the Royal Edition Upgrade, which is a new set of content that is going to be released as another DLC pack, and that pricing hasn't been announced yet for those of you that already own the base game. The rumor was $20, but that isn't confirmed, but the Royal Edition will be released at $50, and it's going to include all of that content, the base game, the Season Pass, as well as the Royal Edition Upgrade. That is a crazy amount of value for your money, and while Final Fantasy 15 wasn't a perfect game, it did falter in the storytelling department. Overall, the positives of the game definitely outweigh the negatives, and if you're a fan of quality open world RPGs, this is one to check out.
Brothers and sisters, I ask you to stand by me and fight at my side for the light and for the future of our world.
A Way Out. A Way Out is a very interesting game. It's an action-adventure game played from a third-person perspective, and it's specifically designed for cooperative multiplayer, which means that it must be played with another player through either local or online play, but don't worry too much, you only need one copy of A Way Out, so if you own the game, you'll be able to invite a friend and play it no problem, and best of all, it is releasing at a budget price point, so that's great too. As far as the game itself, you control Leo and Vincent, two convicted prisoners who must break out of prison and stay on the run from the authorities. The story of both characters is told simultaneously, and you'll have to cooperate with your partner in order to progress. Each situation can be approached differently, with both characters taking different roles. A Way Out is one of the most interesting games EA has published thus far, and it's gonna hit the market on March 23rd. Attack on Titan 2. Attack on Titan is one of the most recognizable Japanese IPs currently. It's a huge manga, a huge anime, and it's already had its first video game in Attack on Titan, and now we have Attack on Titan 2. Attack on Titan 2 will cover the anime Season 2 events, and it will feature some gameplay refinements from the very first Attack on Titan. Now, this isn't a game I would probably recommend to those of you that aren't familiar with the anime or manga. It's probably not going to hit home with you as much, especially because it is a Tecmo Koei product and you know how these games go. With Attack on Titan, it is a little bit different mechanically because you do have the maneuver gear, but you still want to be a fan of the IP, and that's the consumer that's going to get the most enjoyment out of Attack on Titan 2, especially because this does cover Season 2, so the story is going to be a little muddled if you're not familiar with it. Attack on Titan 2 is coming March 20th. Assassin's Creed Rogue Remastered. Assassin's Creed Rogue is probably the most forgotten Assassin's Creed game. It's right up there with Assassin's Creed Syndicate. And Assassin's Creed Rogue was forgotten because originally it was released as a last generation title when the next generation platforms came out, and it was released on the same day as Assassin's Creed Unity, so Ubisoft decided to bring out Unity for the next generation consoles and Rogue for the last generation consoles. Most gamers, because they had moved on to the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One, they went with Assassin's Creed Unity, but lo and behold, that Assassin's Creed Rogue was actually the better of the two games. Assassin's Creed Rogue is very similar in gameplay to Assassin's Creed 4, which many would consider to be one of, if not the best Assassin's Creed title. Personally, for me, it's probably my second or third favorite, and I wouldn't say Assassin's Creed Rogue is as good as AC4, but it is a very good game. It has a very interesting story with you playing as a Templar, so it's a nice change of pace. And after the release of Assassin's Creed Origins, it does look like the faith in the Assassin's Creed IP has been restored, and you'll be able to check out Assassin's Creed Rogue Remastered on March 20th. Devil May Cry HD Collection. One franchise that's been absent for a little while is Devil May Cry, but you'll be able to play through the 3 Devil May Cry games that were originally released on the PlayStation 2. Devil May Cry 2, as well as Devil May Cry 3. There was actually a Devil May Cry collection that was released on the PlayStation 3 and the Xbox 360. It was the exact same, but for those of you that didn't get a chance to check that out, you will be able to check out these games on the PlayStation 4, and they will have your typical HD refinements, better visuals, better performance, all that jazz. As far as the games themselves, Devil May Cry and Devil May Cry 3 are very good. Devil May Cry 3 is actually a prequel to the very first Devil May Cry game, and as far as chronological order goes, the Devil May Cry franchise is actually all over the place. Devil May Cry 2 takes place well after Devil May Cry 4, so figure that one out. And speaking of Devil May Cry 2, that game is seen as the weakest of the series, so that is a little unfortunate. Personally, I still thought it was pretty good, but not at the level of DMC or DMC 3. Still, the collection is being released at just $30, and whether you want to revisit the games or experience Devil May Cry for the first time, it's gonna be a solid pickup when it hits the market on March 13th. Scribblenauts Showdown. Scribblenauts is one of those franchises that I'm surprised didn't garner more traction than it did. It gained a little bit of a following, but it kind of disappeared for a while, and now it's back with Scribblenauts Showdown, which is a party game for up to 4 players using mini-games based on the Scribblenauts formula. With Scribblenauts Showdown, this will also be the first time that the series is headed to the PlayStation 4, so that's pretty nice to see, and hopefully Showdown can set a positive tone for future Scribblenauts entries because they are very charming games, and it's a franchise that still has some untapped potential. Showdown hits the PlayStation 4 on March 6th. And finally, Titan Quest. Titan Quest is a very old school dungeon crawling RPG similar to the likes of Diablo, and it was released on PC a long time ago, but now it's coming to the PlayStation 4. And of course, from a visual standpoint, Titan Quest isn't the most endearing game in the world, but that's not why you're going into Titan Quest. You're going in there for an engaging experience and a game that you can put a lot of time into. More interesting is gonna be how this game translates over to the DualShock 4 controls, which shouldn't be too much of a problem. We've seen Diablo 3 release on PlayStation, and those games have done very well on console, and they've worked very well, and it looks like with Titan Quest, they're putting a lot of care with the console adaptation. They're changing around the UI and the HUD, adapting the controller interface to the DualShock 4, and of course with this version, because it is being released over a decade later, they are improving the visuals, so that's always nice to see. Titan Quest is coming on March 20th. So that wraps up every big PlayStation 4 game coming in March 2018. What do you think? Which PS4 games are you the most excited for next month? Let us know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.